Hi everyone, it's Halloween and you all seem to like my little Halloween horror film tray thing a little while ago. I promised I'd make a goblet to go with it. So we've got here what is a really, really big wine glass. It's a beer glass, I don't know. Is it a... I think it might be a pint. It's quite big. And I've got a stack of these skeletons left. Now, the plan is to make this look like the skeletons are trying to get out of that people soup that I made in that tray. Now, one thing that's putting me off this slightly is these cheap plastic skeletons. Their arms don't bend. Their heads turn and their feet do, but their arms don't bend. I don't know. I have to do some doctoring. And I've also got the little massacre scene that was left over from the making the tray. Oh, and a cup of tea. Obviously, gotta have a cup of tea. So my first job will be to stick on the skeletons in relevant places. Then we'll start mucking about with blood, as you do. Right, okay, let's crack on. So the first thing to do is get the glass pretty clean. It was clean, it came out of the dishwasher, and then unfortunately I left it on the windowsill in the craft room since I filmed the tray. Anyway, so for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about with this, the tray I made previously for the horror collaboration, then this is it. Even the back's pretty disgusting, look. And I'll put you the link for the video of making of this at the end of this video and down in the video description for you. So if you want to see that, you know where to go. This video is part of the Crafty YouTubers United's international craft collaboration. That's a lot of words, isn't it? Anyway, if you like this video, there's a whole playlist of videos just like it and better probably. So at the end of this video, you'll see a link where you can click to have a darn good binge watch. So happy Halloween, and I hope you like all their videos. That wasn't very good, was it? Now, we're probably going to end up cutting these skeletons about, but the first thing to do is start to have a look at where we're going to glue them on. Now, I've got some glue, and I've got a high-powered torch, UV torch, because it's UV curing glue. Let me make myself comfortable. Right. So this UV glue is from Resin. I buy it on Amazon though, because I can never actually find it on their own website for the UK, so I get it from Amazon. Now, I want one of the skeletons to look like he's trying to get out, kind of like I was doing there. But obviously we're going to need to do something with his arms. Sorry, skeleton. If this makes anybody wince, I'm sorry. So first of all, we want to stick him on here and then try and do something with his arms. Let's stick him about there so they've got a bit of wiggle room with his arms. So what we're going to do, we're going to put some of the ultraviolet curing resin. This stuff cures in 5 seconds. We're just going to stick it down his chest. We are going to hold him in position. Think about there, so he's a little bit up above. I hope some of that is in contact with the glass. Yep, there we go. Poor little fella, eh? Poor little fella. Anyway, yes, arms. Now, this is going to be tricky because they're going to, like, his body is there and, oh, I know. Let's cut him at the elbow. This feels really mean. Somebody posted after the video of the tray, yeah, what have those skeletons done to upset you? I don't know, poor little skeletons. Right. So I now need to stick them kind of like that, don't I? Oh, hang on, we're going to need a bit more glue down there by the look of it. Oops. I mean, it doesn't matter if this ends up looking a bit of a gloopy mess, does it? Because I'm going to be covering it like in blood and guts and stuff anyway. I'm actually wondering whether super glue might have been better for this. I don't know. I've got some quick super glue activator too. Oh well. I'll say there's going to be resin all over this anyway in the end. As in epoxy resin, probably. Okay, there he is. Now for the fun bit. I don't know whether to put any bones around the bottom. I might. I've got plenty of skeletons, so I could. Behead one. This one's pretty had it anyway, so let's behead this one. Oh, there we go. We could put him there, couldn't we? So what I'm doing now, as you can see, is cutting up another skeleton. We're filling it all up with bones. Nice, eh? So I'm going to attach to the pelvis. Let's have an arm missing. Now what I'm going to need is translucent. It's a shame to cut up a whole one, doesn't it? Oh well. We're going to need some slightly translucent, blood-looking resin. Now, whether I'm going to be able to make this all so that you can actually see the bones through it properly, I don't know. We'll see. But we're just going to get some resin in now. Right, so I'm going for Apex 1 coat because it's really thick and it'll cure fast. And that's kind of what I want. Okay, so Apex 1 coat. It's a 1-to-1. And look how thick it is. And I'm not going to try and thin that by warming it. It's quite cool in the craft room today, that's why it's so thick. But my idea was to use this to dribble all over the place. And that's why, you know, it'd be better if it's thick. It cures really fast as well. I've known it to be demoldable in 2 hours, which is just insane for an epoxy, isn't it? Now, of course, you could do this with ultraviolet curing resin, but it gets very, very hot while it's curing. I mean, resin just does, doesn't it? I didn't want to risk breaking the glass. And also, I want to try and use the same colours as I did in here. So I've got the acrylic ink ready, because that's how I got that nice vivid red. Now, my idea is, and this might be a bit of a labour of love, I don't know. I want to try and get the resin to stick up the sides of the glass first. And it'll just be clear. And I will just let that kind of settle until I've got... So you can see the skeletons a bit. That was the idea. I don't know if that's going to work, but I thought I'd put that around the sides first. And again, it doesn't matter that I'm dripping it all over the blinking glass, and look at all those bubbles I've stirred in. Doesn't matter. Just want to try and get this so that the skeletons actually show a bit, that's all. And it kind of wants to look a bit like, you know, goo. Right, I'm going to mix some more up, and that's when we're going to put the red in. Right, so that has settled, and it is sticking to the glass. If you can see, this is how thick this stuff is, especially as I haven't warmed it. Can you see how the resin has run down the inside of the glass? Oh, on the outside. Didn't really want it on the outside just yet, but it isn't disappearing down, which is kind of what I wanted. It would be all too easy to just do the resin in red and leave it, but I kind of want it to be a bit more disgusting like this is. So we're going to put in our ink. Now, this is an acrylic ink, and the reason I'm using it is because it's opaque and it's really, really red. Look at that. I don't want it completely opaque though, but it's more opaque than just using an alcohol ink. Look at that. Now, I might need to deepen it down a little bit, having said that. So I will be adding a little touch of black. And the colourant I'm using to do that is just a perfectly ordinary resin dye from Let's Resin. There you go. That's going to match the tray a bit better, isn't it? So what I'm going to try and achieve is, so it's not solid red. You see how this goes through the red and the black and the... Yeah. So I might put a bit of black in as well. But having put that clear in first, I'm hoping that it will also kind of dribble down and you won't get a solid, you won't get a solid colour. Let's put some on his head, look. Hey, there we are. Run some down the glass. I think it wants to be a bit redder, don't you? Go for another drop of the red. 2 drops. In fact, what I might end up doing is making up a bit more really red resin just to do the details with at the end. Don't know. Let's just chuck this in the middle for now then. So the idea is that you can still see the skeletons through it. See? Yeah, that's working. Yeah. I'm going to put a bit more bright red in the centre though. I think I'm going to let this cure up and then we'll start doing some details. Can you see how that red isn't just all the same shade of red and there's bits where it's a bit more clear and yeah, it's pretty gross, isn't it? Hopefully it's all over the bones and yeah. And I've got it dribbling down the outside as well. Let's have it inside and outside. But we'll do more of that after. I think there's room for plenty of finishing touches here. I am going to mix up just a little bit more of the red to go in the middle. Okay, and now we're going to put a bit more of the... I'm going to make this really quite dark and quite opaque. Just run a little bit of almost black. Like so. Just make it a little bit more disgusting. Like some of this is congealed. Yeah. Now because this resin's so thick, being a fast cure one, hopefully that won't mix too much, it'll stay put. I'm now getting the urge to put some of the red in the middle again. That's pretty disgusting though, isn't it? Okay, a bit more red. So, really, once I've tipped this in, we're just going to leave it. I will see you in a couple of hours and we'll put the finishing touches in. Because it should be pretty much cured by then. Even though it's a bit cooler in the craft room today, I think this stuff cures fast anyway, so it should be ready for finishing touches, which I'll do in like a really opaque red. A really opaque red. Oh, it feels like that scene from, the opening scene of Macbeth. When shall we three meet again? Right, I'm going to have a clean up and we're just going to leave it. And hopefully that will look really gross by the time I see you again. It's looking pretty gross already, isn't it? Right, I'll see you later. Right, I've been letting this resin thicken up a little bit. I mean, it's thick enough already, but I don't know. I think I want it thicker than that. Anyway, I'm going to just try it on some of the skeletons in here. Just need a bit more blood. Want it a bit more gloopy. Let's try it on this little guy. I don't know. I might need to leave it a little bit longer. And then we're gonna let it run down the sides of the glass. Yeah, might need to leave it just that bit longer to get the effect I'm after. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty thick anyway, isn't it? It's pretty disgusting, isn't it, this? Is it disgusting? There's a danger of scaring the kids that come round doing the trick or treat. I might not put this out till a bit later when the older kids come round. Yeah, it seems to be working. Can always leave it a few minutes and put a bit more on, can't I? And it's dripping off the glass nicely onto the base, which is what I wanted. It's going to make an almighty mess on this mat, isn't it? hope this is enough grossness. It's certainly Halloweeny, isn't it? Right, I'm going to leave it another 20 minutes, let this thicken a bit more. Okay, I'm still faffing at this. What I'm doing is, as some of it runs off the bottom, I'm scooping it up and putting it back up at the top. But it is starting to stick and look particularly gross. So that's all I'm doing. And as it dribbles down and runs off the bottom, because some of it is still, I'm letting it do that and then just picking it back up and putting it at the top again. Like so. I want a bit that's going to go down here as well. We haven't got enough on the base around that side. Let's just put a little bit. But yeah, can you see I'm just scooping it up and putting it back around the top, both on the inside and the outside, on the little skeleton, all over the place. It's just generally gross. Right, I think the next time you see me, for once it won't be a demoulding, will it? But we'll be finished. So all I'm going to do then is give the glass a bit of a clean, because it's probably got all fingerprinty and smeary. And although it's gross, I don't want the whole thing to be a mess. I want the glass in between to be nice and clear. So I should be getting like a wipe that I use for my glasses, probably. And just give it a little buff over. Other than that, I think that's it. I'm trying to get my matte clean, of course. Right, I'll see you later. So here it is, all finished. Do go and watch the rest of the collaboration. Don't forget the link for the collaboration will come up at the top of the screen shortly. It's a lovely long playlist of loads of really yicky ideas for your Halloween crafts, so have fun watching. Stay tuned, everyone. A couple of close-ups at the end, and also once you've watched the collaboration videos, I'll also put you the link to the video where I made this tray in case anyone missed it. So I'll see you for the next video. Bye.